Good morning, sisters. It's Kayla. Kayla G with Big Sister Sesh. What is happening? What is happening? Um, it's 9 a.m. and I still don't have a couch, so if you've noticed that I've been on a different side of my house lately for these videos, it's because I don't have a couch. I sold my old one and my new one came in and she's in shambles, hun. I can't put her together. I have a task rabbit coming by later today to hopefully get that situated. So, not that you care, but today I'm going to be talking about um I hate saying it out loud, like my spiritual slash religious journey, which I kind of touched on last week, in a different sense of like going to church, but this will be a little bit more on the spiritual side. And yeah, so we're just gonna rock and roll with that. So a little bit of background. Growing up, I went to church. I never like super resonated with it. But I always did like pray to God. I always prayed to God. Just like I always believed in something and I prayed to God, but I don't know if it was like necessarily the Christian God that we all envision. And then when I went to college, I really got invested in Buddhism and I was in my school's meditation and Buddhism group all throughout college, VP last 2 years. Um and like was like identified as a Buddhist. And then when I moved away from college to where I was living at that time, I never really found a Buddhist group or like meditation group that I just didn't look. I was going through it, so I didn't look for those things, unfortunately. But like kind of lost like any sort of like I still always believed in something. I was never atheist, but like I wasn't like practicing anything. And then when I moved to Austin, I I feel like because I was going through such a transformative period of my life, I just got much more spiritual and religious. But it's really, really, really heightened in the last like 2 months. Um, so, like I would always pray once in a while and I always showed gratitude. Like that's something that I've practiced my most of my adult life is like always trying to find gratitude and be really, really grateful, which is something that I picked up from Buddhism. And like, yeah, I just found gratitude often. And that's been like the extent of my religion was like when I was going through something hard, I occasionally meditated and I would find gratitude. And that was like pretty much it. And I like prayed sometimes. But nothing like in a really like nothing super intense. So then when I moved here, it was right after leaving an abusive relationship and like I I've been a serial monogamist since I don't even know, like 14. I've had boyfriend after boyfriend after boyfriend and I never spent any time alone. I was never like Kayla. I was Kayla End, and I was always doing things for other people and like trying to please and also get validation from, and like have like it was a anyway. So serial monogamist moment, not good, not good. Like needed to do some self discovery, and that really came once I ended this relationship. And when I moved here, I didn't really have a support system. I literally didn't know anybody in Austin, Texas. Um, I knew one person in the entire state of Texas. And so like I really only had me myself and I had so much sitting down to do with myself. I had so much like I just had so much work and I've known it for years. I've known that I've had so much shit to unpack for a long time, but I just kept getting in relationship after relationship and this was like I told myself when I ended this last relationship that I need to spend at least a year alone. I literally can't get a boyfriend. I can't get a girlfriend. I can't date. Like I went on a couple dates, but it wasn't for the intention of dating. Like, and I still haven't really done that anymore. I did when I first moved here as like I was kind of going back into my old ways, like trying to distract myself. I did that for a few months and then I was like, okay, no, bitch, like you really need to sit down and be okay. So now I'm going on like a year and a half. It'll be like almost 2 years of like 2 years. Yeah. Damn. It'll be almost 2 years of, okay, well, I got 2 years in August. I'll be going on being single, which is like such a crazy concept to me because like wow, I'm not even kidding you when I say I went from ages 14 to 24, 23, 24 of like not having more than a couple months in between boyfriends. Like 2 years has been so crazy. Just this year and a half, we'll say, has been such a learning experience. And I feel so in touch with myself. And I feel like I know exactly what I want and exactly what I'm looking for. And I know that I'm okay by myself and I love myself and I cherish myself and like all these things. So like this last year especially of like really doing the work has done some things for you, girl. And that's kind of what's led me into like even deeper spirituality and religion. So I've been working on myself a lot in all of the ways. And like more specifically, I've been working on just like I've always been the kind of person that has a million ideas of what they want their life to look like. And I've never wanted a traditional life. I've never wanted to like work a 9 to 5. Like I've always described my life as looking like escaping the matrix. That's always what I've wanted, like to travel. And I don't really want kids. Um, like I'm not looking for like the typical family life. That's what I've described my life. That's what I've thought that I've wanted for myself for a long time. And in the last couple in the last year, I've really started to like hone in on and define my values. And a lot of them wouldn't necessarily come from this like nomadic, non-traditional life that I once thought I wanted and something that I really harped in on, especially during this healing journey and moving here. I realized how important community was and having like your people around you. And that's something that I haven't had around me for a really long time. Mostly to my own fault. So when I left college, I moved um, to Richmond, Virginia, with that partner, that previous ex that was not good, and we didn't know anybody there either. And due to the nature of our relationship, we really didn't make that many friends. I made like two friends, and they were there for me in the ways that they could be, but like I also didn't let on. So I haven't had a community in a really long time. I didn't seek out like the meditation groups like I was talking about. I didn't have family, I didn't have friends, and even the person I was living with was like not good for my mental health or physical. But anyway, so didn't have community for those 2 years that we lived there. And then when I moved here, I again didn't have a community. And I was, just reflecting on like, okay, I want this nomadic lifestyle, but if I move every couple years, like I'm never going to have long-term friendships and like chosen family. Um, and I'm going to become even more estranged with the good friends that I do have. And so I kind of like revamped the life that I wanted for myself in my head, which is now I still want to travel, but like my goals as of right now, or let me dial it back actually. So like with wanting that non-traditional life, I was okay with just kind of like making like I just my nightmare was a 9 to 5. I didn't want a 9 to 5. I didn't want a typical 9 to 5. No, 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 no. XXX. Don't want it. Bye, bye, bye. And so I just had been putting off like even looking at those kinds of jobs because when I had originally looked at them for what I got my degree in, I'm not even kidding you, some of the salary was like 28K, 32K, um $13 an hour. And I'm just like, I went for college for what? Like, what do you mean? Um, so like that was a big hit to my like plans for life too. So, I tried to open my own business and it was okay for some time, but it wasn't working out. And so I'm like, okay, how else can I live this non-traditional life? And when I moved here, I just needed to make money. So I took any old job. It was remote, God bless. Any old, not like real person job. So I took like a remote 9 to 5, but wasn't really 9 to 5 job. And then I was also working at a restaurant. And I was like happy, but like where the fuck was my life going with that? I wasn't like saving a ton of money. I had, I was enough to like live within my means and like do a little bit of fun extra stuff, but I couldn't like still really live the life I wanted. And then that one job let me go, and I had to in November of last year. And I had to really, really, like, really get clear on everything. And so that's when I was like, okay, like, my new plan for my life is to make as much fucking money as I can and invest in all the right places and buy properties and like eventually have enough properties that like I don't have like these crazy ambitions. I don't need endless bouts of money. I just want enough to like take care of myself, be able to take, my parents to nice restaurants occasionally or like, pay for a vacation every once in a while and like yeah, like I don't need an exponential amount of money. I just wanted enough to live like a bit more cushy. So my idea was invest in all these properties, have passive income, maybe do a couple passion projects on the side, and like whatever, kind of leave my life open to what I value the most is my time. That was another thing that like came up for me in this time of realization. So like building community, having my free time, and being able to take care of myself and the people I love, like all boiled down to this like plan basically, which was to just make as much money as I can, like grind for a while and like in a job that I like it doesn't have to it's not, it's not necessarily what I want to do for the rest of my life, but I really enjoy it right now. And like it has a lot of money making potential. So yeah, so that's how I got to those conclusions with this job. And I know this all seems like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, how is this going to get to what the point of this podcast was? And let me tell you, we're getting there. I feel the need always to explain. I always do, hun. I over explain. Explain? I over explain. And so, okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to get at is like this is how I got to like the point of my new values and like really honing in on them and like manifesting them and like praying about them and blah 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 blah. So that's why we're here. So to reiterate, my values were being able to have my free time to focus on passion projects and build community and like have my time to do whatever the fuck I want, whether it's play instruments, whether it's be with my friends, do yoga, all the health things that I like to do, like travel, blah 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 blah. And that's going to take some time. It's going to take time to like get my time back, and I'm understanding I have to work with the matrix a little bit. Like I can't just like, you know. So time, and unfortunately I like, as much as I don't want to believe money runs the world and like I can escape it without it, like I just got really real with myself because yeah, I had a lot of aspirations and dreams when I was younger that like I was like, I don't need this and I don't need that, and like I can do anything I put my heart to, but like that's true, but like within reason and with modification. Like there's like you can't just like it costs money to travel. And like even if you don't travel, like if you work and you travel and blah blah blah, like you're gonna have no money. Excuse me. You're gonna have no money at the end of that. And like, what about emergencies? And what about savings? And what about healthcare? Like all these things. So, like, I had to. I'm making my dreams happen. It's just gonna take a different route. And that's something that really was hard for me to accept at first because like at first it feels like you're giving up on your dreams and like you're like not being true to yourself, but it's actually just like, oh, like 17-year-old and 18-year-old and 19-year-old Kayla had a very different understanding of this world. And I'm doing what I can with the information I have now with all this new information and like understandings of the world that I now have. And like, yeah, that was a really, that was an idea, that was an idealized version of what my life can be. And it can still be that. It's just going to be different, going to happen differently. Um, so does that all make sense? I was applying to jobs for like almost a year before I got this job offer. And I had gotten one other job offer, which I've already talked about, that like seemed really good on paper. But like something in my gut was just like, no, 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 no. And that turned out to be the right decision. But with this new job, like I had just such a good feeling about it. And I can't really explain why because it did seem a little sketchy on paper. Like it it definitely seems sketchy on paper, but it's turned out to be one of the best experiences of my life. I've learned so much. I've done really well. So when I got this job, like I was at wit's end. Like I was like I needed something, but I wasn't willing to take anything because of these like this like strong moral compass that I abide by or whatever. And though this job like didn't it whatever. So I decided to take this job. And this is when like I really honed in on like praying and manifesting because there's so much potential in this job. Like you can make as much or as little money as you put in. It's like an uncapped commission structure, and like you can make as much money as you work. Basically, like you have to put in a lot of work. And I'd never worked a job like this. I never worked so hard in my life. But I just saw so much potential, like so much. And that is when I really started to like pray and manifest. I've said that 8 times. I've said that 8 times. So like that's when I started to like pray a lot more often because I would go through the training. It was very difficult. And like I remember praying during that. I was like, please God, just like let me do good. Like let me like get through this. Da, 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 da. Like I started just like I found myself praying more. Um and then as like the money started to come in and as this job like this, the people in this job, I'm like starting to get emotional because like they've made me feel like in such a way like they've made me feel so important and like they see so much in me. Like they especially my first month and a half there, like the CFO and the regional manager were calling me and like telling me how much they valued me and how much they believed in me. And like I get that that's just sales. Like I get that like they probably did that to everybody. But I don't know. Some of the things they said, I'm like, that doesn't sound. I mean, maybe they're really good salespeople. They are really good salespeople, but like the things that they were saying to me made me believe in myself in a way that no one has made me believe in myself that way. And because I started to believe in myself in a way that I've never been able to before, I started to like really be able to envision the life that I could make for myself with this job. And like not just with this job, but like with the money that I could make from this job. And so like that started to deepen my practice. Like I started to just visualize over and over like if I can make I remember maybe 2 months ago I made like a list of all my expenses and like things that I want to be able to but I made the first list was like what I need to get by. and it was like 55K is what I need to like get by and be able to put a little bit in my savings account every month. And that's like, not frivolous. And then I bumped it up to like 90K, and I was like, okay, 90K, I can do this, 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 this. And I was like, wow, like, and that's so in reach, and that's so in reach. And then I was like, and with 100K, or not 160K was the next one. I was like, wow, like, oh my God, I could do so much with that money. And I just started to really like be like 100K or 160K a year is X amount of dollars in revenue a month. So I have to sell X amount of blah, blah, blah. And it just like breaking it down like that just made it so much more tangible to me. And I started to manifest like all the things that I wanted with that money, which was my time again. And like that, I have a vision of a house that I want. Um, and I envisioned like the love that I want for myself, and like the way all these pieces would fit together in my life, and like the properties, and like being able to take my parents places, and all of these things, and being able to take care of my friends and family. Like that's all I want to do, is like be able to like I want to have a big house so I can invite all my friends and family over, and then I can make them a lavish spread of food. Like literally my love language is hosting. Period. Um but so I just started to like really I've never been able to like think that far in advance. Like I've never been able to actually see my life, and like people that know me, like I know for a fact my best friend in high school would tell you that like I used to say I don't see myself living past 18, and like now that and my college best friend would probably say the same thing about me, that I used to say that about being like 21 and 22. Like I was like, I just don't see myself living past that age, and I thought I was going to die. And it wasn't like I thought I was going to die. I just was like, I feel like I was just so unsure of myself and my life and like who I could be, that I couldn't even think that far in advance. And now that I just had all these opportunities opening up in front of me, I was like, dude, like you have all of these options to like start really honing in on it now. And I've been able to hone in on it so much with prayer, manifestation, listening to the right kinds of things. Like I don't fill my brain with true crime anymore. I listen to like Leo Skeppy and this girl, I forgot her name, but it's called like Mind Money Manifest podcast. But like she talks about like how manifesting, like she talks about the power of manifesting. I mean, so many people do, but like filling your brain, I was filling my brain with like only true crime. I listen to true crime literally 12 hours a day. And like like that stuff unfortunately is not good for your brain. Like you need to fill your brain with the right shit. Oh Lord. Ed Milet's podcast and reading their books. Like I started to just fill my brain with like all of the options I had for myself, and all of the trajectories and all of the possibilities. And just like being able to like fucking envision that was just so like I don't know, it was so like mind-blowing to me. And that's like when I started to really get into manifesting and journaling. Like I have what I call like reset days on Sunday, and it's not every Sunday now because life be lifing, but like I will have a day where I just like really tune in and like ask God. I say God, universe, angels, and energies. Like that's who I pray to, because I don't even know who I'm praying to yet. Like I just know someone's up there, and I see angel numbers everywhere, and I see like I feel I am so in tune with people's energies now. It's like almost exhausting, especially being in sales. Like I can like I need to just like cleanse people's energy, so that's something I do on those days. But like I pray to all of those things, and I ask them for exactly what I want and need, and like speak of it as if it's already happening, and just am like ever so grateful. Like I ask for what I want, I tell them what I want, and then I'm just always showing gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. And been doing that for like really a lot for about like 6 months now, and it's just been getting more and more and more every time. Like every time I have one of these breakthroughs, it just gets more and more intense, and like literally to the point where I'm crying. and I set intention candles and like all this shit. And like it's such a beautiful experience to just like profess what you need from the world into the world. Like say it, literally say it. Hearing your own voice say those things is so powerful. Like hearing your voice say I am enough, I am deserving, I attract money, I am deserving of money, I deserve abundance. Like saying all that shit trains your brain that you do, and like it will literally attract these things in your life. The way that I have attracted and manifested the things in my life, like I literally am about to cry again because it doesn't seem fucking real that like in 3 months I have turned my life around. And I mean, it's been a lot of hard work, but like I 100% give so much credit, if not all the credit, to prayer and manifesting. Like saying that shit out loud, writing it down, asking the universe, ask and you shall receive. Literally ask the universe. Ask it. How is it going to know to give you these things if you don't ask it? So, been doing that. And another part of this journey has been, so I went to a holotropic breathwork and sound healing class about a month ago, maybe a little more than a month ago, with Michelle Shalin, who has a book called Mindful Metamorphosis, which is a great book. I haven't read it myself. I've read snippets of it, but she's incredible. So anything she touches, I'm sure, is gold. Um, but she is a mindset coach, like a mental fitness coach, and like hosts all these shops or like workshops around Austin and the surrounding areas. And she just crushes, like she absolutely crushes. And so I went to one of her classes for the first time, didn't know anything about her or the class, didn't know what holotropic breathwork. It literally just said breathwork and sound healing. So I was like, oh, like, I thought box breathing and like some sound healing. I was not expecting the kind of workshop that it was. It was 2 hours long, and holotropic breathwork, I think I'm saying that right. So holotropic breathwork is basically a breathwork technique that like releases DMT that's already in your brain. Like it releases more of it to like, I don't know, but it like regulates your parasympathetic nervous system. It like creates this very intense like release. It was invented to help traumatized individuals like overcome their trauma. I'm totally butchering this, but like whatever, look it up. And so like people use it as a way to like, obviously in this society our parasympathetic nervous system is always fucked. Like at least mine is. I feel like I'm always in fight or flight mode. And this is a way to like calm you down, like allow your body to truly be in that rest period so it can just like release what it needs to. Because if you don't know this already, your body keeps the score. Great book, also recommend. But your body holds so much trauma. So like this is going to be the longest winded episode. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore, but hi. Hope you love it. So yeah, holotropic breathwork class, that's what I was getting myself involved in, had no idea. And so it's basically like this breathing technique where I'm not going to go into the breathing technique, but it's a breathing technique which like basically puts you in like kind of a psychedelic state. If you like, it takes a lot of like conscious effort. But if you do it with enough intention, you can get yourself into the psychedelic state. And I've practiced mindfulness and meditation and all of these things for quite some time. So like for a first timer, it was not hard for me. I like got into it pretty easily. And my best friend was also there. My two really good friends were there. And I believe they both had very similar. I know my friend Jules definitely had that experience. Caitlin, I'm not sure if she had the same kind of experience, but she's also been doing it for some time. Like she's tried that stuff before. So it was different for her, whatever. But I know at least me and Jules had this like, it was almost like our bodies were like tingling. Like I felt it right here. Like I just felt like vibrations. My hands were numb, like my feet. I felt like I couldn't move for the first little bit of it. And like just everything tingled. And like within 15 minutes, I started just like crying, like sobbing, 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 crying. And I didn't know what I was crying about. Like I wasn't having any thoughts. I was not having any thoughts at all. And I was just like sobbing. And I sobbed pretty much the whole time after that. and it's about 40 minutes of like this vigorous kind of breath work, and then a sound healing. Cry, cry, cry the whole time. And like after that experience, paired with all of the things that I had been through recently of like realizing how strong manifestation was, and like all the experience that I was having at work and like having people believe in me, paired with this incredible experience of like, holy shit, I am like, our body did that. Breath work did that. Literally, what? Like, we are such powerful human beings. And I just felt even more in touch with myself and like, whoa, like it just was like an insane feeling to be like, we are the most powerful creature. Like, we're so powerful. I am so innately powerful. If I can put myself into a psychedelic state and like release all this trauma, I can do anything. Like, what the fuck? Literally, what the fuck? Crazy. So that was a super powerful experience that like propelled me even more. And that was a month ago. And so like this last month has been like I've been journaling like crazy. Like I've never journaled this much in my life. I've always been like, I'll journal once a week, once every other week. I've been journaling almost every day, like with intentions and manifestations of what I want for my life and like gratitude and all this shit, like a lot. And yeah. So now is where the story begins.